Hi boys and girls, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to discuss about constants. Before we start talking about constants, let's have a recap. In the previous class, we discussed about variables. We covered this. We discussed about variables. I told you that a variable is an example of what? Of an identifier. Yeah. This is an example of identifiers. Again, a constant is an identifier. This is also an identifier, right? This is also an identifier. What is an identifier? Don't forget, an identifier is nothing but a C token. Okay, this is a C token. It falls under C tokens. Okay, this is a C token. Identifiers are user-defined objects. These are user-defined objects. So the user is the one who is going to define. The user is the one who is going to define the identifiers. An identifier is a C token. It is a user-defined object. What is a variable? A variable is an example of an identifier. Again, a constant is an example of an identifier. So see, constants are identifiers. Variables are identifiers. What is the difference now? What is the difference between the two? What is the difference between the two? Okay, I'll tell you later the difference between a constant and a what? And a variable. See, in the previous class itself, we discussed about the declaration of variables. We have what we call the declaration of variables. We also have what we call initialization of what? Of variables. Initializing variables. Okay, we discussed about these two things. Now let's discuss. What is a constant? Constants are similar to variables, but they have a fixed value. Okay, constants are similar to variables, but they have a fixed value. I'm sure this statement itself is revealing the difference between a constant and a variable. Do you still remember? I told you now. Let's say you have written int a semicolon. What is this? This is declaration of a variable called a. What is the meaning of this? This simply means a is going to store an integer. A is going to store an integer. So some space is going to be allocated in the computer. Space for the variable a. Suppose the memory address is 100. Okay, what? This a is going to store a what? An integer. This is over. So this block is coming from this statement, the declaration of a variable a. Now if I write a is equal to 5 semicolon, what is this? This is now initialization of the variable a. This is telling me that a is storing a value 5. So 5 will come here. This is all. I'm sure if you can remember in the previous class itself, I told you now. If this is happening at the beginning of the program, at the end of the program, you can find out that a now is storing 1. What is the meaning of this? This simply means the value stored in a variable can be modified. The value stored in a variable can be changed. So it is possible to modify a variable. It is possible to modify a variable. Okay, initially the value of a is 5. But at the end of the program now, a is equal to what? A is equal to 1. So what happened? We have managed to modify the value of a. The value of a has, in this case, was what? Was modified. But in the case of constants, if a is a constant, it means what? Throughout the program, a will be holding the value 5. Okay, so constants are similar to variables, but the difference is these constants have fixed values, while the values of variables can be varied. The values of what? The values of variables can be modified. It can be changed. These fixed values are also called literals. So these fixed values are also called what? Literals. The constants can be of any data type. Okay, so the constant can be an integer, it can be float. Okay, this is the keyword for integer, this is the keyword for a float. Okay, it can be a character. It's okay. There are different types of constants. We have what we call literal constants. We also have what we call qualified constants. We have what we call symbolic constants. The literal constants are further divided into four. We have what we call integer literal constants, floating literal constants, character literal constants, and we also have what we call string literal constants. See, it's not required to start these things into detail as per your module. Okay, just to know in general what is a constant, what is a variable, what is the difference between the two. These fixed values are also called what? Literals. Okay, what are the different types of constants you should know? You should know that these literal constants are further divided into four, that is integer, floating, character, and string literals. Okay,